Detailed instructions. Screw the mop head onto the pole, tightening the screw just tight enough to where the pole can't turn without turning the mop. Do not over-tighten and strip the screw. The pivot friction wing nut comes pre-adjusted from the factory but may periodically need adjustment. You can use a pair of pliers to tighten or loosen the wing nut. You do not want the mop to loosely flop. It should have some resistance. After you get comfortable using the mop, you may want to try the tilt option. To do this, simply remove the tilt locking screw on the pivot and screw it in the storage hole below. This will give you more flexibility in maneuvering the mop. You can tilt the mop head left or right by simply twisting the pole. This also allows you to do horizontal wiping and not just vertical wiping. Horizontal wiping is also helpful for removing streaks. Adjust the tilt friction by turning the tilt friction nut using a 7/16 wrench. It should also have some resistance. There are two pads on the mop, the wet side and the dry side. Place a pad on one side with the tapered end facing up. Then flip the mop over and attach the second pad with the tapered side up. Start by priming a new wet side pad. Apply 10 to 20 sprays of wash wax all onto the pad, ensuring that the wet side is slightly damp. Remember, this priming step is only needed the first time you use a fresh and clean pad. Then spray the area to be cleaned. We recommend 1 spray pump per square foot. For high areas, set the spray pump to the stream setting. You can also use a pressure pump sprayer. In situations where spraying directly onto the surface is not desirable, simply spray the wet side of the mop pad instead, and then apply it to the surface. Flip the mop over to the dry side and dry the area. Do only a large enough area that you can dry before the wash wax all dries on its own. When the wet side becomes dirty, pull it off and move the dry side to the wet side, and put a new fresh dry pad on the dry side. We call this rotating the pads. This gives you the most use out of each pad. Once you rotate the pads, you'll probably find that repriming isn't necessary. Since the pad was just used for drying, the pad should already be damp. Check to make sure it feels damp to the touch before use. It is usually best to start at the highest point of the vehicle and work your way down. After all painted surfaces have been cleaned, put 2 fresh and clean pads on and clean the windows last. If you see streaking on the windows, you can remove the streaks with a mop pad or microfiber towel dampened with water and then dry with a clean dry towel. The pads can be machine washed and dried. However, be sure to avoid using any kind of fabric softeners. Also, avoid high heat settings as they can damage the microfiber material. After towels and pads have been washed and inspected, store them in a sealed container or bag, free from dust or dirt. Aero Cosmetics. Innovation in aviation-grade cleaning products since 1987.